These drawings are not your casual, everyday drawings. They might look colorful and naively drawn, but on closer inspection, they can be dark or even haunting. These drawings were made by Hiroshima survivors. I encountered these drawings on my Instagram feed, and it made me think, why is there not more art made on Hiroshima and Nagasaki? These represented the most murderous seconds in the history of humanity, yet it feels like there's no artwork which represents it. I made a lot of videos on the art of the First and Second World Wars, but where's the art that came from the nuclear bombing that killed up to 140,000 people in Hiroshima alone? I want to present to you Toshi and Iri Maruki. Artists and lovers, they collaborated all their lives with their distinct yet complementary styles. For this video, I watched the 1986 documentary Hellfire, A Journey from Hiroshima made by John Junkerman. It's available on Canopy and I strongly recommend it. It's only an hour long. In it, they go in depth on the artworks we're about to look at, but also into the artistic process of this elderly couple. If you see videos of the Marukis or their artworks, it comes from that documentary. On August 6, 1945, at 8:15 a.m., Hiroshima was destroyed in an instant. 3 days later, Iri Maruki was in the decimated city, helping the wounded and cremating the dead with his wife Toshi, who'd join him soon later. They stayed there for weeks. At that time, they were struggling artists. They had been successful, but their anti-war positions in Imperial Japan made them unpopular. They couldn't sell art and didn't even have access to art supplies. After Japan surrendered, the United States occupied the territory, and the Japanese couldn't use the words atomic bomb, and they couldn't share their pictures of the tragedy as they would have been seized by the Americans. It was in this climate that 3 years after the events, the couple started working on a project, and in 1950, they finally revealed Ghosts, a 1.8 by 7.2 meter artwork on folding panels called Byobu. The breadth of the tragedy unfolds panel by panel as you witness a glimpse of what happened. The title emphasizes the morbidity of the subject, but it's the medium, charcoal, which not only makes the ghostly figures smoky, but refers to their burns, reminds us that these people died in horrific circumstances. The pile of decomposing bodies, the hands extended for help, these are images which Iri and Toshi Maruki could never forget. There's a poem which accompanies this work. It was a procession of ghosts. Clothes burned in an instant. Hands, faces, breasts swelled. Purple blisters soon burst and skin hung like rags. A procession of ghosts with their hands held before them. Dragging their torn skin, they fell exhausted, piling onto one another, groaning and dying. At the center of the blast, the temperature reached 6,000 degrees. A human shadow was etched on stone steps. Did that person's body vaporize? Was it blown away? No one remains to tell us what it was like near their hypocenter. There was no way to distinguish one charred, blistered face from another. Voices became parched and hoarse. Friends would say their names, but still not recognize each other. One lonely baby slept innocently with beautiful skin. Perhaps it survived, sheltered by its mother's breast. We hope that at least this one child will awaken to live on. When this work was presented, it was, for many, the first time they'd seen the atomic bomb and its consequences. It was, for most, the first time they'd see art on that subject. The project was supposed to end there. The Marukis witnessed the atrocities of the atomic bomb and rendered them in a seizing, colossal artwork. But when they presented this artwork, survivors of the bomb, known as the Hibakusha, asked them to continue. They felt, and I believe rightfully so, that their story wasn't shared as much as it should. So Iri and Toshi Maruki decided to dedicate the next 30 years of their life to make a series of 15 folding panels of the exact same size. Each work has a poem associated to it, so if you're interested in looking at these paintings and reading their poems, you can check out marukigallery.jp. The story about these incredible paintings could have ended here, but again, something came up when they presented the series. In 1970, they presented the series at the California Institute of Technology, where a professor asked them, if a Chinese artist painted the brutal massacre of Chinese in Nanking by the Japanese occupation army and brought that painting to Japan, what would you do? It's the same thing. Here, Japanese artists have painted the genocide they suffered at the hands of Americans and have brought it to America. We are helping to put on the exhibition. Doing an exhibition of anti-war art during the Vietnam War would get attention, of course, but the comment from the professor really challenged the Marukis. Iri explains in the documentary that she felt embarrassed by a chauvinist feeling that came from being confronted to the massacre of 300,000 Chinese 7 years prior to Hiroshima. So they decided to paint the rape of Nanking with its beheadings, its rapes, and its overall violence. The creation of this final painting is really what convinced me to make a video on this. This painting is the result of honest introspection by the Marukis and a genuine will to confront their feelings about their nation's crimes, which shows these artists' genuine care, attention, and integrity. These paintings are symbols of anti-war ideals reflected by real experiences lived by artists who wanted to have a conversation about the atomic bomb in a place and a time where such conversations were not as widespread as they had to be. But what is most striking to me about these paintings, aside from their obvious aesthetic appeal, is their humanism. These paintings depict almost exclusively bodies. There is one landscape with a boat, crows at one point, and one of the work is dedicated to lanterns, but as a general rule, you see humans. A lot of the time, they're not even wearing clothes because they were burned, which makes these figures even more focused on their humanity. And there's this dual emotion about the tragedy and about humanity in general that the Marukis had to juggle with. There's on one hand the violence, the ugliness, and the stench that such events bring. These are not paintings you'd wish humanity was represented by. But there's paradoxically a love for humanity in these paintings. These weren't made cynically, they weren't made to denounce humans and their barbarism, even if that's what they do. I feel, and I may be wrong, that they're made out of love for humanity, with genuine hope that we can be better, that we can live in harmony. The Marukis spent their lives advocating for peace, and their legacy does exactly that. But as they showed with their painting on Nanking, they're showing that it's necessary to face our own violent past, our biases that may invisibilize violence, and that this process, though it can be confronting, ugly, and disgusting, is one that is necessary if we truly love humanity and hope for a better future. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Jeff Reese, Roman Brandel, X Towns, and every other patrons for supporting the channel. If you also want to support the channel and join these people in the credits, check out patreon.com/thecanvas. Thank you.